What's up, Austin?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're all you
Nice.
did it, man.
I did. I figured it out, man. I feel like an old man.
Yeah,
What's going
man.
on, Don?
Very good to see you, bro. How's everything going, man? Where are you coming from? Work?
Yeah. I'm coming. I ran to the outlets. I had to get spiffy. Had to get a nice little outfit. Had a date today.
Oh, you had a date, yeah?
Got a date tonight. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Let's go. It's number two.
Oh, no, number two this week.
Uh,
Number two this week.
yeah.
Oh, so what are you swiping right? Is that how you guys do it these days? Is that the way you meet girls these
Yeah.
days?
Believe it or not, yeah. Surprisingly, swiping right, but harder than ever. Since the virus hit.
Yeah, I wish they had apps like that when I was a young man. We had to go out and do it the old-fashioned way.
It was more genuine. I'm still old school. I still love to talk on the phone. My iPhone actually broke maybe like couple weeks ago. I was talking to some girl, and my iPhone broke for like a day and a half. So like I had to call her on the house phone. And it was like, it brought me back. And the best part was like there was one point where I was like on the phone with her, and then like you hear on the other line, like you hear it click in, and she's like, "Hello." I'm like, "Mom, I got it."
Dude, you're like living out my teenage years.
I know. I was like, this is insane.
Wow, that's good though. You got a taste of what it was like in the old days, huh? I mean, do you
You
even
ain't kidding.
like growing up? You must have always had. What are you? You're 29, right?
I think I had a Nextel when I was like 8 years old, the little chirp button.
Yeah, so you grew up with the cell phones and computers and stuff.
Yeah.
You don't remember not having internet or any of that kind of stuff. But
No,
yeah.
couldn't imagine back in the Stone Age.
So what happens? Because this the whole Tinder swiping right thing is it's after my time, right? So you swipe right, you get a match, and then you after that you just decide, hey, let's go meet somewhere.
Yeah, I'm probably not the most educated on matchmaking in here. My ratio is not the best. That's right. Somebody else you might want to interview for that one. But yeah, you match up. You go. I usually go like, my my pickup line is usually like, "What's up?" It's not that like it's nothing crazy. It's just like, how you doing?
Do you
I
open
think
up
my bio, my Tinder's like, why not?
That's awesome. Why not? And what kind of picture do you have of yourself? Is it like
I could use a few better ones.
Because do you go with do you tell them right away that you're a comedian, or you tell them you're a fireman? Which one gets the most interest out of the girls these days?
I usually I've been doing the stand-up one. The stand-up one's pretty been working because then they understand, then it's like, okay, this is where I'm coming from, like but yeah, for the most part, I put stand-up, entrepreneur, big entrepreneur I am.
You got the world all ahead of you, man. You just got into the comedy world, and you're kind of taking off, and that's cool. Another thing I didn't realize is that you're right here, man. I'm in Manorville also, dude. So you're right in the neighborhood out here.
I am. Born and raised, actually. Went to school and everything out here. Yeah,
nice.
I have benefits. It's nice. Yep. The Sharks. I was part of the Sharks. Nice. I played some sports growing up. I did, I did basketball, baseball, volleyball.
Nice, man. Yeah, very cool, dude. I love it out here. I came from Brentwood originally. I grew up in the beautiful neighborhood of Brentwood, Long Island, and then and then moved away, came back, and then came here to Manorville. I love it out here. It's a whole different Long Island, man.
It is a different group. It's very it's very peaceful. There's not a lot of crime. Believe it or not. The only thing I really had a problem growing up was like because living in such like in the neighborhood, some people were a little more wealthy than others. You see a lot of it's a shame, a lot of drugs were bad in school, and I was very fortunate that I was able to really keep away from that.
It's crazy because no matter, like you said, with money, no matter what level you're at, drugs is always seeps into the
Yeah, you'd be amazed.
Yeah, man, these kids, they just they love it. They can't get enough of it. Even though they know
Yeah.
some of it's gonna kill them, you know.
Yeah,
It's
it's a
just
shame too. It wasn't just like the weed and stuff, like that. It was like they were more of the hardcore stuff. You're like, oh,
yeah, man.
but, I
That's why
mean,
like I
fortunate enough, I stayed out of it.
that's why I don't know. You ever watch that show Utopia? Like I don't know if that show is good or bad for kids to watch that thing, but that's how I find out what they're up to.
that's your that's your way in.
That's my way in. No, but that's good. And you're also a fireman out here in Manorville.
Yeah, I volunteered. I'm not anymore actually. So what it is, I put in for a leave. I haven't been there for maybe a couple, 2, 3 years, but I mean, I still associate with all the guys. I loved it. It was like a brotherhood. All the guys are very supportive. I mean, they even come down and they'll see me. They'll come to governors and support me and stuff like that. I know one guy's hosting a fundraiser, so he requested to have me go on to that, which is really cool.
Nice, man.
So I mean, it's definitely something I'm very happy I did, because it's something I always feel a part of. Even not being in it, it's like a good brotherhood.
Right.
That's kind of what I knew too. I wanted to take into comedy. I mean, I'd always be like, at the firehouse, stuff like that, and like I'd always have like a crowd around me like that. So I think back at it, like, and that's a tough crowd. I mean, I don't know if you ever done any shows for those firemen, man, but those are tough crowds.
When you get firemen or police officers or military guys have seen some shit. It's hard to really they're not guys that are gonna laugh at silly things. You got to really find where the funny is. That they're not.
You got to dig deep.
Yeah, they're not gigglers.
Yeah, no, you got to find their B side.
Yeah, man, they got some weight, they got some baggage, and and that's why it's important to make those dudes laugh. But it is a challenge, and that's what's good about with you interacting with those types, and between the fire department and also you do some boxing, and you kind of in that zone with different mindsets. Like boxers are serious people too. Like for the most part, at least, especially when they're in the ring. So here you are, this comedy minded guy getting into all. How does that happen? What drives you to go to do those things?
To what, I gotta do boxing, stuff like that?
Yeah, boxing, fire department.
So that was kind of both stuff I did prior to doing the comedy. It's kind of a lot of stuff that helped lead into it, and actually helps. Actually, all it helps in the long run. But yeah, it all kind of helped create, I guess, me wanting to be a comic. I was raised up like a middle child. I got older brother, younger sister.
Yeah.
I mean, believe it or not, the younger sister was the tougher one out of all of us. She really gave it to us.
Nice.
But yeah, boxing was nice. Boxing actually introduced me to what actually really helped me get into comedy. It introduced me to Mick Thomas. He really helped lead the way for me. He actually brought me. He made me do his show. What it was I texted him. I said, "Hey, I'm a new comic. I was like, my buddy told me to reach out to you. You might be able to help me out. Like, just he doesn't know at all who I am. He's like, probably who's this guy?
Wow.
But he said, he was like, oh, well, there's a show coming up. Message, blah blah blah, and see if we can get you on. And I was like, all right, and not being into it at all. I didn't know what to expect, and it was during COVID, so it was one of those shows. So it was at Governor's on the patio. Yeah. And I don't know if you remember that when they first started, it had like the plexiglass in the front.
Yeah, that plexiglass
shield.
Shield.
And I guess they were just starting out, so they were just getting the lighting right and everything in there. Because I mean, it was hot in there. But before they called me up, I'll tell you what, I was shitting my pants, man. That was the most nervous. Like you said, I've done boxing, I've done the firefighting, I've done all those, and nothing made me more nervous than that moment when they're like, "All right, you're on deck," basically, and you're that comic has like 5-10 minutes before you're up, and you're like, "I've never done this before." Here I am on stage with a bunch of guys that've been doing it. Like, it's nerve-wracking when everyone's like, "Oh, it's your first time." Oh, it's your first time. Like they're nervous for you, and like this isn't helping. So like I had some, it was nice. I had family there. I come from an Italian family, like so they're supportive. They really have nothing else they can't be. So
I tell you that the camaraderie amongst the comedians is always a great thing. That's what I remember. I did stand up like years ago in the late 90s, early 2000s. I messed around comedy a little bit, but the biggest takeaway for me was always the camaraderie, being around the other comedians, making friends,
Yeah.
And all that
I
kind
met
of
some
stuff.
of my best friends that night. Chris Frey, who actually was the 60 Stone podcast with me now. Him and Dan Larocco. Those are two guys I met that night. And ever since then, we've been those closest guys that I know. And it was awesome. I came off. They were very supportive because I had, like I said, probably the toughest set, not even just being a new guy, but the microphone kept going in and out. So now, not only I'm a pretty loud person, so now I'm like trying to, I just figure you just keep going, right? I don't know. Do you stop at this point? I'm new. Now I'm really nervous. Damn, I'm done. I'm sitting there like shit in my pants. I'm tapping. I'm like, is this thing working? Like somebody would do if they tell a bad joke. I mean, I'm screaming, but you're in plexiglass, so it's just yelling back at yourself. It's not getting anywhere.
Oh, man.
It was terrible. And like you get off, I got off like my adrenaline's rushing, which I'll tell you what, that's why we do these comics do, is because that feeling when you get off, it's the best feeling in the world. Nothing compared to that. And like I said, like the boxing, the firefighting, all I've done that, the adrenaline, nothing compares to the adrenaline rush of when you get off stage.
Dude.
But yeah, it's definitely nice.
And it's crazy how you did get your start, because a lot of people, especially out here on the Long Island scene, they either start through open mics and they'll build up through there, or they'll take a class and then and then start to network out from the class and get into it through that way. But you kind of just got thrown in the fire, and you're on a, especially during the COVID, and you're on a major bill, with Nick Thomas, and yeah. So, and I think that's the way to do it. I think some people are better if they're thrown in the fire and they just got to figure it out on their own. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, I learned a lot, through just the trial and error, which I mean, I probably would have learned a lot more if I would have, you went through the day over the class and stuff like that. So for me, it's kind of just learning as I go. But
they say school's not for everybody, like college isn't for everybody. And I do think that comedy classes are a good thing. Stand Up University, Rich Walker, those great guys. But I think that some people are better off if they just get shoved into it, because you have a natural ability, you have a likability factor on stage where the crowd's already on your sides. You know what I mean? So that is something you can't manufacture. You can't buy it. You can't learn it. You either have that or you don't. So you appreciate that. Yeah. So you have that. As soon as you're on stage, people like you. So even if you're having a bad set and the mic's falling down or whatever, you could hold it. You could still keep the crowd engaged and keep them going. Because you have that likability factor, and to discover that on your very first show ever, where a lot of things are going wrong and you still manage to come out clean on the other side, bro.
More things that I wish didn't. Yeah, it was definitely one to remember, but it was fun. And now I look back at it, I'm like, wow. But it's great. I mean, I enjoy it. Comic gives you a tell you what, it helps. It's like a therapy. Comedy is like therapy for some of us.
Yeah.
It's like a good escape, to be honest. I feel like if I didn't have comedy, I'd probably be probably a very depressed person a little bit, just because I feel like comedy, like I said, it's an escape. To take things that most people would just hold in deep, that would upset you or make you miserable and just eat at you inside, to just get up there and just joke about it and make a joke about it and make people like find laughter in it, really helps.
Dude, I used to do that. I would be like, if someone's pissing me off or somebody hurt my feelings or something, I would just start working on a bit in my head and go, I can't wait to expose you. I can't wait to get up on stage and rant about this shit and turn it 100%. Into comedy. Yeah.
Like doing breakups, like when I was going through the breakups, like, it really helps. It's like, you know what, you look at the person, like, you know what, I could be really depressed about this, or I could go and make a bunch of people laugh, and like, that's going to be the way I deal with it. And that's how I dealt with things. Overall with work and everything.
For sure.
So
now how much, so living out here, we're far away from most of the clubs.
You ain't kidding. I mean,
Even
shit, you are not
McGuire's,
kidding.
even McGuire's, which is out here, is far away.
I don't think I put something in my GPS where it didn't say longer than like an hour.
So
No, everything's far. When are you gonna start the big comedy club out here, though?
I know, dude. We got to get a club out here, man. We got to figure it out. I know there is comedy out here, but it's mostly at some of the theaters out here, and then they just have the big name guys. There's no place for like there's no comedy clubs where people can just come and
there's not, and it would be nice to have one out here. But yeah, I'm very used to traveling.
And now with these gas prices, bro. I was going to say how much how much stage time do you get, and where do you go? Like, what's kind of like, are you getting out there enough? Do you think?
Yeah. I believe so. I'm getting out there. I hooked up with a couple of producers. I get for the most part, I've been doing at least one or two shows every week or every 2 weeks. I do. I get I get a few guest spots. I've been doing like some guest spots for Mick and stuff like that. I'm going opening for him.
Nice.
What else is nice? I just booked for like Mohegan Sun. I'm gonna be there April 28th, which is gonna be nice. And then I mean, I've been trying to do as many shows as I can. Try not to burn any bridges with anybody. I'm very friendly with all people. Like you never know who you're gonna run into. But I try to get I don't really do many open mics. What I like to do is like if I have something I'm gonna try, it's nice being in that circle with comics now, where you can basically just give them a call and run things like by them like that. It's pretty to me, it's like kind of pretty much the same as doing an open mic. And then I'll go and work it out. I'll go work it on stage. I'll try it out, and that's the best way I feel like to see if it's gonna hit or not. Because when you try that open mic, most of the time you're just doing it in front of comics anyways.
Right.
So it's you're not sure how it's really gonna hit. It's until you actually really do it on stage.
Do you get feedback from like Mick Thomas or John Butero or any of these guys that kind of mentoring you? And what are they telling you? How are they? What's some of their advice that you've heard?
Sometimes I'll, for instance, being new, I'll get too wordy with some jokes. So that's my problem. I get too wordy with things, so that helped me cut things out like that. Like cut the fat out. You'd be amazed on how much fat you like as a new comic you put out there, and then when you're like, wow, I can cut all that out and it still be funny because you really just want to paint the picture. So you don't really need to paint too much of a picture, just enough. And that's something that I'm learning now, being a new comic, as well as stage presence that you're just gonna learn as you go. I was always so nervous getting on stage about remembering my bits, which was the problem because I would get on there and I would just blah, 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 just get just making sure that I didn't forget them, and I was like read them as a script. Right. And doing that, I noticed you don't really give the crowd enough time to get the joke or to laugh. I was jumping over the laughter a lot.
Right. Yeah.
Because I was so eager, thinking that if I have 6 minutes, I got to get my whole set in.
Right. And then you knock it all out, and then you're like, oh, I got 4 minutes left. Now
yeah,
what?
Exactly. And you're just jumping over the laughter. So I learned that you don't have to get every joke out there. When you do get a good and you're getting the crowd to laugh, you don't take it. I learned to take in the laughter, and I've been having so much more fun now getting on stage and not being so nervous about memorizing my bits or making sure that I do them all. And it's a big difference. And like that was like one of the biggest things that they all say is they go up there and have fun. And like it's such a genuine thing because everybody says that just go up there, have fun, sport. But it really is like when you're with comedy, if you're up there and you're in the pocket and you're fucking having fun with that crowd, it's amazing on how much better your bit's gonna be than when if you're just going at that like ding 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 ding.
Dude, I always tell people to like if we're not having fun, how can you expect them to have fun? So you have to have that vibe of that you're fun, you're relaxed, take your time.
That's a big thing
with the bits. Let the material work itself out. And if you don't need to know it verbatim, it doesn't need to be like a script. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some comics that just, hi everyone, how are you? But you just got to be natural. Word. Yep. Yeah, exactly.
And like that's what I was doing, word for word. And I realized now, like when you get up there and you can as long as you got your premises and you got your punchline, you can get up there and you can say however you want, which is nice. Now I'm like, starting to which is the biggest fear of any comic just starting out. I feel like, which mine was the interacting with the crowd. Being nervous if a crowd's gonna interrupt you, because now you don't know where your train of thought's gonna go, if you're gonna lose it.
Right.
And I've had that. I had that with the train of thought. You're like, oh my god, and your brain goes like blah, and you're like, what am I gonna do? But then you manage to just keep talking. Eventually, you'll get back on. And when I conquered that fear, I was like, all right, it's not as bad as I thought.
Do you have stock jokes ready to go in case someone tries to heckle you?
I didn't at first. I'm just starting to now a little bit more be more relaxed and like kind of like, okay, like if this goes this way, try to have like how I'm gonna change it up, because I know it's too like another thing, making all of them always say you always want to, you never want the crowd to take over. You always want to overpower, no matter how much leeway you give them. Never give them too much.
Right.
You never want to you never ever want to tell the audience, oh, well, come up here and do it then. Like, you never want to give them the opportunity,
No, because what if they get up and kill?
Exactly. Exactly. You never know. You never know who's in the audience.
Yeah.
So you never want to lose charge of the crowd.
Yeah, for sure, man. But no, I think you're off and running, man, and like I said, the scene is great out here on Long Island. Have you ever gone into the city yet? And
yes, I have. I've done a couple of shows in the city. I've done that Broadway Comedy Club.
Nice, yeah, good people over there.
It's different crowds. It's you learn it's different crowd out there.
That's what's good about the city, is because it's a lot of tourists. So you're dealing with people from all over the world, all over the country, and different senses of humor. And I think it's a good training ground. Also, I think Governor's fans, our audiences here on Long Island are also very good, because they want to laugh. They get the jokes. They're not easily offended. Where in the city, some people might be. That's where you get the people.
You never know what kind of crowd.
Yeah, the woke.
It's a handful of all different.
Right, but I think it's good for you as a up and comer on the scene here to get that mileage under the belt. That's how I look at it. Like an airline pilot that needs so many miles before he could be a pilot,
Yeah.
And I think it's the same for comedians, and you're getting the mileage under the belt there, and you're killing it. You're getting your name out there, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Appreciate that. Any experience is good experience, give or take. Like I said, we all have bad shows, but you always keep learning. Did I lose you?
I'm still here, but yeah, there you are.
All right.
It's funny because with COVID, so many things came out of it were positive, and like for you, you got the comedy through the pandemic. Do you think if there was no COVID, would you still be a comedian, or was that a part of it that you were kind of
I wanted to do it. I was set on doing it, and then that's when COVID hit. I think that it pushed me a little more when I messaged when I actually messaged Megan. He was like, come on down, because I knew if I missed that opportunity, I'll never get another one. So I mean, I take it, but no, I think I would still continue. I think I would have done it either way. I always knew I wanted to do something in the entertainment business. I always knew that I was kind of like, I was like the funny, entertaining one. I had like, my group of friends, my family. And then I just noticed as I would go to barbecues or like family parties, like, and I would just tell stories like that, just the way people always like interact. You know what? You're so funny. And then when the one guy was like, hey, you should do stand up and I can hook you up with somebody that I know, I was like, all right, like this is how things happen, So it's like, I'm going to take the opportunity, and I haven't dropped the ball yet. I kind of just making sure.
There you go. And what do you got? It's like close to 2 years under your belt now in stand up?
Yeah, 2.5, I believe now.
Nice, man. Good.
Yeah, it flies by. It really flies.
It does, man. Jerry Seinfeld says, as a comedian, you're as old as the years you have in it. So like if you only have 2.5 years, you're like a 2.5-year-old.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So once you get 15 years and 20 years, and then you start to mature as a comic as you go. But I think you're off and running, man. I saw you set that time at McGuire's, and I was just digging it, man. It was it was just cracked me up. A lot of material about being home, with the family.
I appreciate
it. Yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't do really politics jokes, man. I try to stay away from a lot of politics. I like I said, like everybody who does it, nothing bad to say. It's just something that's not I want to tackle. I feel like it's a hard thing to do with comedy. It's definitely limiting your audience, and that's not something I want to do.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Once you throw politics, or once they know what you're thinking, then people are gonna put you in the box. Oh, this guy's
Exactly.
he's the woke comedian, or he's the conservative comedian. And then
they associate with one thing.
Right, exactly, and then it's hard to break out, and then they.
Yep.
I mean, nowadays they take the comedians seriously. So if you're a political comedian, now you can't. It turns off another side of your comedy, and I think you're doing fine with what you're doing. Pull from what you know, man. You should do like a bit about, like, when you came up through boxing, and you found your way through comedy through boxing. And I was watching the podcast you did with the guy who owns the boxing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it was funny. He's like, he said something that could be good material, where he's like, hey, as far as this boxing thing goes, maybe that's not for you. You should be a comedian, that kind of thing, like kind of go with that route. But, I think that has some legs to it.
Yeah, I just did the boxing just to defend myself from my mother.
There you go.
Those Italian moms, man.
Nice, man. Well, this has been good having you on the Donversation.
It's awesome, man. I appreciate it. This was great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Don.
And where are you taking this girl now tonight? What are you doing? What's the what? Tell me about the Tinder date.
Man, yeah, I'm gonna treat it to the finer things here. All right. I'm gonna start off with some nice glasses of water. A couple ice cubes. I think hibachi. I think I'm gonna take a hibachi. I'm gonna see, how well she is at catching me in the mouth.
That's a great way to get to know somebody, right? See how she.
Yeah, that's it. If she catches the first one, then she turns her head 90 degrees for a second one. Then I got something to be nervous about.
You go to the hibachi over there, Riverhead. Is that the one you gotta head to bring it
No,
to?
no. I'm gonna go to. I think maybe out here in Patchogue over here. There's a good one. Or
Very...
no, out there at Mount Sinai. I think I'm gonna go to Mount Sinai area.
All right, cool.
To the limo service. I'll send to pick her up.
Well, good luck with this. Are you going? You're going back on to Knock 'em Dead show?
Yes. I should be on there at least Thursday morning at 11 a.m. I should be live with them.
Dude, you got to tell them how this date went, so this way we can follow up on this date.
Oh, 100% I will. I love talking about it. I don't think they're too happy, but I love talking about it. And if I could just plug in, if people want to listen, Sticks and Stone podcast. They can follow the links at Austin Brooks Comedy on Instagram. All the links are there, as well as I think May 20th I'll be at McGuire's, and then April 28th at Comics at Mohegan Sun.
Awesome, man.
So I appreciate this, Don. Thank you so much. It's been fun, man. It's a blast. Love talking with you.
Yeah, same here, brother.